What if your next 5-star review didn't come from doing great work, but came from doing and having great communication? For Zach Payne and the team at Icon Roofing, customer trust is built before the first shingle comes off. In this episode, we're talking about elevating every part of the customer journey from the pre-job walkthroughs to post-job photo reports. Zach breaks down how thoughtful systems and clear communication not only reduce customer issues, but also generate referrals, retention, and repeat business. Zach is the founder of Icon Roofing in Mesa, Arizona. In just 4 years, he's built a thriving roofing company focused on purpose, communication, and doing right by people. A second-generation tradesman who started as a broke college student pulling trailers, Zach has transformed his business by obsessing over the customer and the employee experience. What sets Zach apart isn't just his operational excellence, it's how much he cares. From taking new hires and their spouses out to dinner to documenting every detail of a job in Company Cam, Zach is relentlessly focused on doing the right thing for his team and his clients. And that's exactly why Icon Roofing has grown without relying heavily on marketing. It grows by reputation. So if you're serious about building a company that people rave about and refer, this episode will give you the playbook. Let's jump into a conversation about process, people, and doing things the right way with Zach Payne of Icon Roofing. Welcome to the Roofing Success Podcast. I'm Jim Aline, and I'm here to bring you insights from top leaders in the roofing industry to help you grow and scale your roofing business. Zach Payne with Icon Roofing. How are you today, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. As this airs, it's probably a lot hotter in your area. We're talking about off camera how nice it is. You're down in the Phoenix area.
Yeah. We're out of Mesa, which is a suburb of Phoenix. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's nice. Today it's raining, so we're grateful it's raining. It's not 800 degrees, and then in 2 days it's supposed to be like 102, 105 for the next 3 months. So yeah, it's really trying to take advantage. Yes. Yeah.
We're bracing.
We're bracing for impact. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about Icon and your journey into roofing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started roofing in college. So my uncle owns a roofing company here in the Valley. And when I was in college, broke college student, come back for the summers, need a job. I grew up in the trades. My dad owns a flooring company. Tried to work for him. He didn't have enough work to keep me busy and kind of pay the bills for school. And my uncle had an opening, so I worked for him for every summer during college. And then I just started from the bottom, pulling trailers, and then eventually kind of grew to be in charge of the crew and manage the crew. And then eventually I graduated college with a business degree, and then I just started right into sales and worked with him for 8 years. And then I tried to buy one of his businesses because he has 2 roofing companies in the Valley, and just didn't work out. He wasn't ready to sell, and which is totally fine with me. I was like, hey, I have my own license. I'll just go do my own thing. And that was about 4 years ago. So I started Icon about 4 years ago, been in the industry for about 12, and it's been very, very good to us. We've been very blessed.
Yeah. What was the initial focus for Icon?
So I love my uncle, and I see him at all the festivities. I guess on a Monday for Memorial Day. But for me, there's a few things that I just didn't love that I feel like he had the ultimate say, right? So I was like, hey, it's fine. I don't agree with that. So when I start my own, this is how I'd like it to be done. And that was really like the premise for me was like, he had a great business, don't get me wrong, but there are a few things I just didn't agree with. Like, hey, when I start my own thing, I want to do it how I want it, how I'd like, if I was the client, how I'd like it to be treated. And so that was kind of like the main thing for me. Income aside, like, I knew we were going to be blessed either way, whether I was running my uncle's company or have my own. Like, I'm sure money will follow. But for me, it was like, if I can do a really good job by my clients and make sure they feel like they're taken care of instead of taken advantage of, the money will always follow. And then I also wanted to kind of create a culture of growth from within. Like I'm never gonna hire from outside and be like this big executive position from outside. Like I'm gonna train you from the ground up so that
Mm,
you don't have any bad tendencies or bad experiences that are kind of ruining you, for lack of better terms. So I kind of want to have anybody that works for us that feels like they're being taken care of and they feel valued and heard. And then as they grow with us, they get, obviously the money comes, but like they get newer experiences. Like a lot of our guys haven't really been in a management role before, and now that
yeah,
they have been, like they're learning new things, and some of them are, pain points, but like they're learning new things that they didn't get the opportunity to at the other jobs. So it's like it's cool that as we grow, people get new experiences and new arrows in their quiver, for lack of better terms. And that's what
yeah.
I kind of want to like do good by our people, do good by our clients. The money will always follow, but if we do things right, it'll also provide some really good income for everybody that works with us, because now they have in a management role or in a sales role, they can make some really good money and give a better life for their family, better work-life balance. So like a lot of those things, I kind of stems off of the main thing of like, if I do really well by people, I think everybody else has a cascading effect in a good way. And so that was kind of like my premise of like why I want to start my own company, was a lot of factors, but they all kind of stem off of one thing.
Where did you get, where did this like mindset come for you? Because it sounds like, I mean, it's, you were the broke college kid, right? We're just trying to, pay some bills and make it. And then it sounds like there was was there a moment that you were like, man, this is like, I see a bit like a much bigger vision. Like what happened there?
Yeah. I think when I started it, that did not come across my mind. I was like, hey, I want to do my own thing again, do right by my people. And then as I started hiring people, obviously
Mm,
as we grew organically and we were blessed, like people started, we needed seats to be filled, right? So like people that were working with us, they started to fill those seats, and like seeing the transformation by certain people in our company going from making 40,000 bucks a year as a salaried employee, but working their butt off. And it's like, they're not really seeing their full potential or their value at all. They're being undervalued. And then they're making, crazy money. And then, yeah, growing into a position where they're going to be managing somebody, like that to me, like was a switch of like, we're really building something cool. And I like that because me, again, we'll always be fine financially, but like, if I can make somebody else be in that same situation, how much more like fulfilling and enriching that is for me to have people that work underneath us or with us, that they can
yeah.
experience that. Like that was a whole like mind shift for me. Like we're really doing something cool that, instead of just, yeah, we make a good paycheck, it's like we're really doing something cool that will have a cascading effect to their family, and then other kids that will grow up, having a good life as opposed to a struggling one. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that branch off of that new mindset of like, yeah, we should do it right. Things will come always, but like building people up is a really big thing for me.
It's a it's an amazing thing, right? Like that the your ability to have impact changes so much, right?
Yeah.
Like and it's pretty crazy. So you started with, and what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you started with, I want to change the customer experience.
Very.
Right. I want to provide a better customer experience. I feel like there's some gaps here. I don't have the ability to change things in this environment. But man, I really wish my customers were served on a higher level. What were some of those things that you saw early on, like that you were like, I want to make sure that this happens, in the process
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
customer.
Yeah. A lot of it is, from the trades in general, like communication is terrible for the
Yeah.
most part. So we can be better communicating with our clients, because like a lot of times the sales process is really good. Like we'll communicate really well, they'll be good at sale. And then there's kind of a drop off of like, no one's talking to you until we show up the day we told you we would be. And it's like, oh, hey, you forgot about us. Like, can you move your car out of the driveway so we can do our job? So like we try to be very like on top of our game with communicating throughout the whole process, as opposed to like get the sale, then after that it's like, oh, I hope you saw that one email and you don't forget we're coming. It's like we're trying to be very good at communicating, which we didn't have with the previous jobs or previous companies.
Yeah.
It's like being pretty communicative and also being very upfront about any like possibilities, like making a very realistic expectation of, hey, roofing sucks. It's loud, it's messy, it's not like a quick thing. It's usually takes a while, especially in the valley, because we're moving tiles, and tiles is not like shingle. You can just throw them away. Like we reuse the majority of our jobs, we reuse the tiles. So like we just have to move them from one side of the roof to the other. That takes time. It's like it's pretty long. So like planning and prepping our clients for like it's gonna suck. Don't be mad. At the end of the day, it's gonna be clean, but during the day, it's gonna look like a war zone. So don't be mad, and yeah, don't let your dogs out because they may step on a nail, and then we don't want to get a vet bill saying, "Hey, you hurt my dog." It's like we told you, just don't let your dog out, or if you do, tell us so we can go down, clean up really quickly, and then you let your dog out, do his business, and then come back. So like setting a reasonable and realistic expectation for us on the sales side, I think sets us up for a really good customer experience, because if you don't, like, they're supposed to read that one email you send and like read it thoroughly when there's 97 little line items of like, cut your grass, move your car, take down window little picture frames in your house because there might be some vibration, and then your urn on your dead grandpa's gonna fall down. It's like things that they don't read. It's like if we can tell them that in person on the front end, it's usually gonna go better. So that was another big thing, was like communication, setting realistic expectations. And then for us, we do something a little different, and I know some people do, but a lot of people don't. We do final walkthroughs and pre-walkthroughs. So like before we do the job, we have our salesperson go out, make sure there's, we document any cracks in their driveway, holes in their stucco, a light that's damaged that we or didn't do, but they're going to blame us if we don't have photos, right?
Yep.
And then at the end of the job, again, even though we're licensed and bonded and insured, the government never checks our work. That's what we tell our clients, like, no one ever looks at roofers' work ever. So like we take it upon ourselves to go out and make sure it's cleaned up, that code is met, all the jobs, all the things we said during the job were going to be done, were actually executed. We painted the flashing, we put vents in here, like all the things that we say we were going to do. If nobody checks us, like the homeowner's none the wiser until they sell their house. Like, oh crap, there's a lot of things you didn't do right. And it's like, well, we do that and take it upon ourselves so that when we do a job, a home inspector can come out and not have a million red flags of like, you did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. And it's like, that's another big thing for us, is pre-walks and final walks, to make sure that, again, the client feels like they're being taken care of and they can feel good about investing so much money, because roofs are expensive, and
That's right.
you can spend it in far worse places, I guarantee you. So if we can kind of set that expectation of like, we're really good at our job. We're not perfect, but we're really, really good.
Tell me a little bit more about the pre-walk and the final walkthrough, right? And the expectation set and the proof of execution.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah. So it's not to be rude. A lot of it's the CYA, cover your ass type deal of like, but we didn't break your flowers. They were already broken before we got there. But unless we don't have photos to prove it, you're going to blame us. And that's, again, not what we want to do, but it is what it is. So a little bit is CYA, but a lot of it is like, hey, we sent you a series of emails and texts preparing you for this very, very big, messy, loud project. If you didn't read it, because a lot of people don't, we go in person and kind of reiterate everything we said, like, hey, cut your grass, and it better be cut short, because if you don't cut it short, we might miss nails, because nails can go down pretty deep. And if you're 3 inches thick of grass, it's not going to catch all that. And then you're going to be mad at us. And so it's like, we kind of reiterate everything we talked about. Yeah. Cut your grass, put your picture frames down, urns down off your easel, get your driveway cleaned out, get your stuff out of the garage so that you don't have to like, oh, can you move your trailer in the middle of the project? Like, no, we're using it. Like, so it's more of like, again, a little bit CYA, but also just like preparing and cleaning up the project as much as possible for the client's behalf, so that there's, again, the least amount of problems that could occur possible is what the pre-walks are for. CYA, but also like taking care of them and making sure that they can have the best experience possible by, again, expressing anything that possibly could happen. There might be something that falls down. move your stuff away from the house. Like if you have this very precious table that's custom made, like maybe move it away from the wall because that might come right down off the even right on top of it. Your little bird bath, whatever it is. We try to do that pre-walk of like, we'll do our job only if you do your job. And we kind of phrase
Yeah.
it that way of like, we can only do it the best we can with our limited ability. We can't make you move your car. We can't make you move your stuff. But that's what the pre-walk is for. And then again, just kind of shows them one more time that our face of like, we're going to be here on Monday. Don't worry. We're going to do a good job. And then go over all these little line items. And that kind of, again, just preps the client for the best experience possible. And then, yeah, during the job, we have our production manager or project coordinator that will communicate with the client like, hey, we ran into some bad wood, or hey, the job is a day late because we started a day late because the rain came today, which ironically is happening today. It's like, we're not going to start today, we're going to start tomorrow. And that's communication that we have with them during the project. And then once that's done, then we have final walkthroughs. So like once the job is done, we take the trailer away, the crew does a good cleanup, the project coordinator does a good cleanup, and then our salesperson goes back and goes up on the roof, takes a bunch of photos showing that we did all the work, and then meets with the client and goes down there and says, hey, can you leave us a review? Here's a link to give us a review. So kind of a good time to ask for a review and referrals at the same time. But then again, you can be like, hey, here's your photos. We installed the vent here. We painted all these flashing, like all these things, again, as proof of like, don't just take our word for it. Here's photos, because nobody's going to come behind us and check out our stuff. I mean, when you sell the house, sure, but like until you sell the house, no one's going to look at your roof. And so we feel comfortable leaving a project like this, doing it very almost exhaustive. It could be better, sure, but like we have a pretty good handle on it to ensure that the client has the best experience possible.
And that makes
How have you found the outcome of that? Like what do your clients express to you because of this compared to working for your previous companies and things like that?
Before we carry on with the episode, let's give a shout out to one of our sponsors.
I talk to contractors every day that feel stuck. Not because they're not working hard, but because they're missing the structure to growth without chaos. Or their culture's falling apart because their team's unclear, unaligned, or just burned out. And when change hits, they're reacting instead of leading because time and priorities aren't under their control. Day 41 Thrive helps to fix that with proven strategies for growth, culture, and leadership that actually work. Ready to thrive beyond the storm? Visit the link in the description or visit the Roofing Success Podcast website on the sponsors page to start your journey today. What do your clients express to you because of this compared to working for your previous companies and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Most of our reviews that we get are focused on communication. Like, oh, they did a good job of communicating, which is like, again, nothing you really hear about in the roofing industry or the trade in general. Like, my guy can talk to me. Like, what? They have a voice? That's weird. So that's a big one, is communication. And then like the cleanup, like we do a very good job. We take a big magnet and we leaf blow. We don't just magnet, we use a leaf blower and blow off their driveway and their front porch, their back porch, again, make it seem like we were never there. So a lot of our reviews, like the wording is, we're very good at explaining things, not mansplaining, but explaining things, right? And doing a good job of cleaning up, communicating, talking us through the whole process, taking a lot of photos. Like all those things are very good, that we can see that we're doing a good job because our reviews say those exact words. If it's bad, that's probably going to be a bad review with those words that are included. So it's like, oh, hi, buddy. Thank you for my charger. Now I got my charger, Jim.
Nice.
But yeah, so like we can tell it's working because of the results that we see. When before, I'm sure you've seen, most complaints are about communication, cleanup. They didn't show up on time or ever. They didn't take any photos, so we have no proof to show our insurance. Hey, this plywood was rotted, and like, well, here's a photo to prove it. Like, oh, no, they trust me. Like, no, we don't trust you. You guys are the worst. Industry bad rep, right? So like,
that's right.
It kind of, the results speak for themselves because we feel like we're doing, again, the best job we can, and those are pretty good, almost immediate results of us doing the best we can.
Yeah. And it's that, like I say it all the time, Zach, if you listen to the show, and it's if your customers are wondering, you're losing.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's like, that summarizes that customer experience. Like if they're wondering, you're losing.
Yeah.
And not that we're always perfect every time. They go to dark places, right? And
like,
not that
did I pick a bad person? Did I pick a bad contractor? Are they going to do my job right? Are they going to finish on time? They're going to be on budget? Like all these dark holes that they go into. It's like, that's not a good place for your client.
Exactly. My wife, and it's not just in our industry, right? It's in every industry. An example of this was in my life recently. My wife had foot surgery and a knee surgery. Not a full knee surgery, but I know what you call it, a scope or something. During the knee, we'll call it a knee surgery. During the knee surgery, one of the members of the surgical team screwed up and sent her some information that was out of line with expectations. Talking about the recovery time and all this different stuff. And then, so she called in to see, hey, what, like, wait, I thought it was this, and now you're telling me that. From that moment, the lack of trust in that process was crazy.
Yeah.
Gone, right? Like, then she had foot surgery. Yeah. And then she recently had foot surgery, and that team, that surgical team, and the staff on that team, my goodness, they were phenomenal. On top of it, calling, before and after, making sure everything, if there was, okay, you're here and doing this, okay, now let's adjust this and do that, and like they were just,
you feel far more reassured of like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Reassured,
yeah,
right, and of course we're not doctors, but like it's just that comfort level that people feel through that level of communication.
Absolutely.
As you have built this, I'm sure that there's been multiple iterations of it, and I'm sure that it continues to iterate, like you had mentioned. You're always trying to get better at it.
Absolutely.
If you had to start this process over, or you started a new company, or for someone listening, what are the high points? Like, make sure this. Add this, here's your 8 out of 10. Add these things, and you're at a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I would say it starts from the sales perspective. Like, if you don't set up a realistic expectation of like going through any possible problem or anything that you could run into, most people don't. They like to like just not talk about it and hope it never comes up, right? And it's like, that's not going to be helpful, because if it does happen, like, well, you didn't tell me I was going to maybe run into this. Like, I told you, but like, if they don't tell them, that's problems. Like, I feel like from the very beginning, setting the expectation of a salesperson, of like educating them and telling them that what could go wrong or what could go down, and then taking really, really good photos. Like, we like to say we're photographers that do roofing on the side. Like, all you are, like, that's all you do is just take photos, like, constantly.
I love that.
And the more photos you take, the better that you can show an insurance company or a buyer of a property, because they want to make sure you did it right? Like all those things, taking good documentation. Company Cam, shout out to them. They're great. They can they easily help put it all in one place. You can share the link if you want to. Some people don't like to share the link because it's incriminating sometimes to show things like, hey, we don't care. They're all your photos. It's your job anyway. So like that would be a big one. And then, I think pre-walks and final walks, just to ensure that it got done right and that your client is actually happy, instead of like, oh, hey, we got the job done. Jose took the trailer away. Can you give us a 5-star review? It's like, no, I hated you guys. You guys didn't even ask me if I liked you. It's like, well, we'd make sure we go a couple of times. Like, do you still like us? Did we do a good job? Did we earn like a referral out of you? Did we refer a review out of you? And again, it's just more touching points besides the sales like transaction at the beginning. It ensures like a better customer experience, which is what we're trying to always improve on, is making that customer experience that much better. I'd say those are like the 3 things that I would say is like a big deal that made us go from like an okay contractor, like, oh, we get referred a lot, and this most of our business comes from repeat business, referrals, and almost never marketing because we don't really spend that much on marketing right now. And it's like, that's what's made us into who we are. Like, we're really good and we know that. And this is how we can show you.
Yeah. And that's what really, I mean, what is overlooked in the referral aspect is that. Like, if you provide a good customer experience, you create raving fans who then refer you.
Yeah.
It is. But if it happens along the way where they're wondering, you lose all of those referrals.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of the referrals. You lose them all. You don't know how many there were.
Yeah, you actually make people pissed off you. They didn't even know about you. Like, oh, cool.
That's
Roofer,
right.
I don't know
Exactly.
Icon, they suck. It's like, well, you didn't know we exist. And now you know we exist, and you're not going to use us. So it's like, it's worse than before.
And you're not. Yeah, that's right. Like, it's a terrible thing. But optimizing that customer experience, man, that I love that. Then you found. Then you got to a point where the business is growing and your team is growing and people are, you need some people in management positions and you need some people to step up and this other aha moment came, right? How have you built your employee journey, your employee experience, your team experience? Have you thought about it in the same way that you've done your customer experience? What are your thoughts on how you built your team?
Yeah. Again, a lot of growing pains where you're like, oh crap, I should have done that last time, but it's okay. Now going forward, they're gonna have much better experience than last time. So like, good people are gonna stick around, right? But like, if they weren't a good fit, they're gonna make it very known. And it's like, you're just not gonna make it here. We'll just amicably part ways. But like, I think a lot of it is the training. We don't have a super detailed like training manual, unfortunately, yet. So we'll work on that. But like, overall, trying to teach everybody what they could possibly need from start to finish, and then not just, okay, see you later, good luck, I'll see you next year. Like, we have a sales meeting every Monday, we have production meetings every Wednesdays. Like, all those are very important to have so that it's just continual education and learning, as opposed to like, oh, you rode it with the guy for 6 days and then I never saw him again and I'm on my own now. So we don't think that's very good. So we try to, again, continue education, but also doing as best as we can on the training side right out the gate to, we're roofers, so we could talk roof talk all the time, but like, if you meet a lady or even a guy, they probably don't know roofing because they're not in the industry or even in the trades at all. They are in IT. It's like, you won't know roofing if you're in IT. So we kind of have to start from the very basics of like, this is what a roof is. This is what is wrong with the roof. Is we got to do it right. So training our people to like start from the very beginning, like you're a child, because you are in the roofing knowledge, you are a child. You have to teach them like a 5-year-old. And I got 4 kids that, bless their hearts, they're learning. You got to treat them like that because no one knows. And you can use all these big terms that they're going to just. I had an electrician last week. Talked to my wife like she was an electrician. She's like, I was so mad because I did not understand one word he talked to me about. I'm like,
yeah,
that's what we try to avoid. Like, I don't know what electrical crap is. It's not my job. Like, if I'm a roofer, I'm going to teach you what roofing is, enough to be dangerous. I'm not going to bore you too much, but like, I'm going to tell you the most important stuff so that you don't make a wrong decision. That for me is like training and bringing people on of like, you know the basics so that you can educate people on the basics so that you're already going to be leaps and bounds better off than before you met us.
You could get overly technical really quick, for sure. We forget that. We forget this stuff when we're in it every day. Right?
If you're talking to an adjuster, sure, they'll love talking because it's right to the point. Like, oh, this is what's wrong. It's like, but if you're not in the roofing industry, yeah, the more dumbed down, the more basic it is, the better you're going to be for sure.
How have you determined who is the right person to move into one of these management roles, or how have people shown you that they're ready for the next level of development?
again, learning curves. Sometimes we thought they were the right fit and it just wasn't right. But a lot of people that we've had, you just kind of look beyond them as an employee, but like as a person, do they have the right mentality of like teacher first type mentality and servant mentality, as opposed to like, I'm gonna be a dictator and you do what I tell you to. It's like, well, that's not gonna work very good. For some people, maybe, but for most people, they don't like to be dictated. They like to be educated and
Yeah.
grab by the hand and say, hey, this is how you do it. Or let me show you so you can watch how I do it. And then you just copy and paste on the next one, right? I kind of view the person as more in depth as compared to what their work experience is or their technical skills are now. Like, I can teach you how to roof. That's not hard. I can teach you how to sell or how to propose something, but like, I can't teach you to be a good person. I can't teach you to have integrity. I can't teach you to want to educate somebody about something. So like, hey, your roof's 20 grand, money please. Like, that's not going to work. You have to tell them why it's going to be 20 grand to do a new roof. The person behind, the shirt is what really matters to me, because that will help me decide, are you in there for the long haul? Can you be a servant leadership type person, which we want in our company? And then, yes, as they start to grow, are they on track to be somebody that I would feel comfortable managing somebody? Are they going to be a jerk if somebody screws up? Like, no, be very reasonable. We're humans, right? We're going to screw up. But how you react when somebody screws up, I feel like is huge, because you could really tank their, like you said, their trust or their own self-confidence. If you say, hey, you're the worst human that's ever lived, that's not going to help them be better. Like, hey, you did a bad thing. It's fine. We can work with it. Just try this better next time. And if that person's already like a abrasive person, they're not going to be that manager material that we want. But if they're like, hey man, I get it. I was in there. I was in that position too. I screwed up. I hit a trailer one time. Like, that was my fault. I own up to it. It's like, if you're a reasonable and a good human being, you're probably going to make it work, as long as you're a hard worker as well. There's those two elements that have to meet together. But like, it really is the person I look for is, could you be a manager? Not are you one now, but could you become a manager and a leader of men and women? That's important to me.
So what I'm hearing is you get to observe them over time on the team.
Yes.
Right. There's time on the team, and you're observing, and how are they interacting in this situation? Mm-hmm. How are they interacting in that situation?
How do they receive feedback?
And how do they receive feedback?
Did you do something about it? You're just like, oh yeah, I got you, dog. Like, did you actually like implement it and like get better? Because I can see if you didn't do it right. It's not very hard.
Yeah.
So we also have quarterly review. That's something that I never had at any of my companies before, is an actual review on a quarterly basis. Even an annual basis would have been great. Instead of like, hey, here's your bonus for the quarter or for the year, and it's like $500. Like, cool, thanks, man. But like, hey, on a quarterly basis, this is what you did great. This is what you could improve on, and it's not your fault because you didn't know that, or maybe it was your fault, and now you need to focus on it. But like, having a pretty routine performance feedback of like, you're doing great, dude, keep it up, or you're not doing terrible. There's some things you can work on, of course, just like we all can. But like, knowing that, instead of once a year or even never, like, I just don't see how you can improve as a professional employee or as a professional in general if you're not getting feedback constantly and having something to work towards. Like, of course you're going to be stagnant and bored and burnt out because I have nothing to work for and look forward to.
Yeah, there's definitely the right person. And now, what do you do if, like, I guess, how have you dealt with people who are not the right people? I would assume that you've had a couple now in the 4 years that you've had Icon.
Yeah.
What do you, how do you manage that? How do you not just throw up your hands and go, and no one does what they're supposed to do?
I know you're enjoying the episode, but let's give a shout out to another one of our sponsors.
As a roofing marketing agency owner and coach, I've seen it all. Great marketing wasted because no one follows up fast enough. That's why I built Power Up Agents, not just a receptionist. Our AI handles the entire customer journey, from answering the first call to booking the job to post-job surveys and reviews. 24/7, inbound, outbound, even multilingual. If you want leads followed up instantly and customers nurtured automatically, visit the link in the description or visit the sponsors page on the Roofing Success Podcast website. Your full AI team is ready. How do you not just throw up your hands and go, and no one does what they're supposed to do?
Yeah. It's hard
How
because
do you manage it?
I feel like people are tricky, like they'll tell you whatever you want to hear in an interview. And I do lots of interviews with every person just because one interaction is not good enough.
Yeah.
So like the more times you meet with them, the more like you can actually see the personality and the person in general. So some people are tricky. And again, when I was first starting out, I was like, hey, you got heartbeat? Cool, you're hired. Let's do it. Now it's like, hey, there's no shortage of humans. There's billions of us, right? So it's like, you just got to find the right person.
Yeah.
There's billions of us to choose from. In America, there's not as many billions as like Asia, but like there's a lot of us here. You just aren't picking the right people, and that's on you. Like I have to own that as the owner. That's on me. If the right people aren't on our bus, that's on me, and that there's no one else to blame. It's not because there's not the right applicant out there or right fit for us out there, but because we didn't hire or do our due diligence of looking for the right person. That's on me, and I have to own that. If that person screws up or if they don't work out, it happens. We've had to let people go. And what is the saying? It's firing is knowing, hiring is guessing. And it's like
hiring is guessing, firing is knowing.
And it's like, I know exactly when you're not the right fit because I gave you lots of opportunities, but it's like when you hire, you try to make the best educated guess on it. And as I've had more interviews and had more people work with us, like you start to realize like, it's not their past experience, it's who they are as a person. Are they teachable? Do they take feedback well? Are they going to work hard? Are they going to be, have integrity? Are they going to be a good person at the end of the day? I can work with that individual. And the more you know that person on an individual basis, something that we just hired a new office manager this past week. And I like to take our hirees on a nice dinner with their spouse and my spouse, or if they don't have a significant other, just go by themselves. Just to have an informal, like, hey, this is who we are. Like, I'm a person, you're a person, my wife's a person, your wife's a person, or your husband's a person. Like, that's a little unorthodox, but like, I like it because you are part of the family as much as you don't want to say it. Like, your significant other is just as much part of our business as you are, because if they don't like where you work or they're not supportive of you, you're not going to be able to function at your prime because you're worried about, are you staying out late because you have to work late? Is your spouse going to be pissed off when you get home when it's after hours? And it's like, so we try to get the spouse involved because as much as it hurts to say, like, they are part of our work family very much so. And we don't want to be like, oh yeah, who's your boss? Like, I don't know, some bald dude that's ugly and, he has a weird voice. Like, that doesn't help. But if we can get a good rapport with them, like, hey, this is who we are. Hope you like it. If not, it's fine. It's not the right fit. It's fine. But then we try to do events during the year as well to kind of, again, get some camaraderie and that family feeling in an industry that is a little bit cutthroat sometimes. So we try to do that unorthodox approach sometimes.
That's awesome. How have you developed? You said you're doing multiple interviews now. You're doing the dinners. My friend Terry Gualti talked about that on the podcast before. That's one of his kind of fundamental things that he does in his company. How have you gone about developing a hiring skill set? Yeah,
I've learned to ask better questions as I've gotten older. I'm 33, but like when I started, I was 28 and I'm sorry, 29. I can't do math. I didn't really ask the best questions when I was hiring. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, hey, why don't I start writing the same questions for each person? And then I type it all down, how they respond. And then I go back after the interview's done, like, hey, how did that person respond? Did they actually answer the question, or did they kind of skate around it by answering their own way that they thought was clever? And it's like, you didn't answer all that question. Bless your heart. But like, that was not all what I asked. So I was like, can you actually answer a question? Good. And then
Yeah.
again, I always apologize beforehand. Like, I'm going to take notes. I'm not listening to you. I'm just typing. And every person I meet with, I take very good notes of like how they are, how they respond, and answering the same questions to everybody kind of gives everybody the same baseline of like, I asked the same question, they answered it completely different in a good way or a bad way. So I think that answering the questions and mostly writing down their answers is what's been really helpful to me. And technology is amazing. I did a lot of interviews over over the internet, like a Zoom call or Indeed, whatever it's called. So great because they don't have to come in. I don't have to, coordinate my schedule, like be here for an hour and hope they show up. It's also great if they don't show up because I didn't have to go to the office, make sure that they were there. It's like, hey, if they don't show up, it's fine. I didn't really no sweat off my brow. But technology is awesome. So I do a lot of video interviews and then I bring them in. And then, yeah, the last step is I got that idea from Dave Ramsey, actually, where he takes the spouse out and his spouse to dinner. And I was like, that's a good idea. I should do that. It's a little unorthodox, but like it helps me, that gets them out of their professional, weird, corporate world of like, hey, we're all people, man. Like the more you understand that we're all people and we all just want to have a good life and be good people, like the better you're going to be. So I think for me has been documenting the interviews, writing down good questions, and then just kind of evaluating. We have hundreds of applicants. It's like, God, how am I supposed to go through all these people? And it's just like doing it very slowly, methodically, and it takes a while, but it's so worth it to go through hundreds of people to pick the right one. It's like, I felt good about this. Again, it's not a guarantee because it's not a guarantee, but like you can feel like you did your due diligence the best as possible. That's how I felt like as an interviewer, I have grown and learned.
Yeah, it's much different than I always say this too, is early on, like we're almost hiring assistants, not people that own the role, right?
Yeah.
We just need someone to help.
Yep.
Right. And we need them now. So we hire versus recruit. I think the difference is hiring is like fast now need. Recruiting is sorting through the pile and finding that person who has a higher probability of working out in that role and owning that role. Right. I think that's awesome, man. That's great. As you've gone along, you started, I know you're mostly residential still, but you've started this journey down the multifamily path. What kicked that off?
Honestly, I don't know how the market is in Minneapolis, but like here in the Valley, there's a lot of apartment complexes and condo complexes and townhomes, and they all share a roof, which means that nobody owns their roof because how do you determine who's Sally's and who's Sue's? So it's all covered by the HOA. So like there's the HOA aspect, and there's like the the manager of the property aspect. And as I've been in the industry for almost a dozen years now, you just learn that there's a lot of. I also love it because there's a lot less people to deal with, Jim, because you do this big project, you only deal with like one manager or one board, and the board can be a few people, but like overall, you don't have to deal with this one person. This is their pride and joy. It's their house. It's their roses that you're gonna damage, and it's like those are the people we try to avoid. And if you're in the multifamily side, it's like it's less people to deal with, and it's transactional. It's not like your feelings are involved because it's their job. It's not like it's their house. They're like, hey, do a good job, do it right, clean up, be nice. That's all I care about. Instead of like, oh, you have to do this. My dog wakes up at 6. You have to be here by 6:01. And it's like all these things you have to deal with. It just is so obnoxious sometimes. And as we've gotten more multifamily projects, it's like, this is what we really like. And if we can ramp up and do more of this, I'd be tickled pink because residential is great. It's what pays the bills and we love it. But also there's aspects we don't love about it, and we could do more multifamily side. And so we've been very blessed on both ends, but like we are very oriented and focusing on multifamily side for that exact reason, because there's a lot of communities out there, probably more than you can count. But again, it's usually a more seamless project. Commercial, same thing. You have one person you deal with, that's it. You don't ever talk to the tenants or have to deal with anything. You just make sure one person's happy, and then you move on. And residential is a little bit different. So we really like the
Yeah.
multifamily side. And yeah, sometimes the projects are massive, but like overall, it's far and away much easier of a process. We told them something, and if they don't tell their tenant, it's their fault. I told you, you're supposed to tell them. And it's like, sorry, we're not legally allowed to talk to you, tenant, because we only work for the manager. So again, it kind of gets us out of a lot of the problems we deal with of like, hey, can you come look at this inside, or can you replace my light bulb? It's like, I don't want to be here. It's in the roof.
It is a much more transactional type of relationship, right?
Yes.
It's much more of a business relationship.
Yes.
What were some of your inroads into multifamily? Like, how did you get your first project? How did you start to get your second, third, fourth? Like, how have you gotten? How have you started down the business development side of the multifamily?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a different way. There's like residential property management where it's like you have a rental property, and there's a multifamily side. We used to do a lot of the residential side, but then most people are like, it's a rental property. I don't care. Just get it done as cheaply as possible. It's like, well, that's not really our clientele. We do more of a good job than like a cheap job. So we focus more on the multifamily side because people live there and they want to invest money in like a good roof because they live there full time. So the board or the HOA in general will choose a good roofer because they're going to live underneath that roof too. And so learning that there's community managers and property managers out there, and a lot of time it just was a referral like, hey, my friend does manage this property. Can you go look at it? Sure, great. Then we get in with them and they magically have more properties. So it's kind of like this huge tree that goes unnoticed or undeveloped a lot. So it's like, I think I've heard you say it before of like the really good contractors take one job into many, and that's really property management as well. Like there's so many properties out there, and in any market, I'm sure Texas is slammed. California obviously has a million, and it's really you don't really grasp the gravity of the influence you could have until you just start and you just start to eventually develop and get into more managers, more communities, more associations. And then it's just like the thing just, you taught a person how to fish as opposed to give them a fish every once in a while. Like, you know how to do things now. Business development is still tricky because there's a gatekeeper you can't get past sometimes. You're gonna have to get an in with somebody to get past that gatekeeper. But once you do, it's like, really is the sky, it's endless. Sky's the limit. And we always say we're blessed to be here, of course, but there's so much work to be had that I don't really view anybody as competition because I'm my own competition. Like if I screw up, I screwed up. It's not because that guy beat me. It's because I screwed up. And there's so much work to be had that I think we have a scarcity mindset sometimes. And it's like, no, there's billions of people, there's billions of properties that need roofs, like, and homes that need roofs. And it's like, you just don't think of that a lot of times because you're all about the next sale. And it's really about how can you make that person love you to give you lots more. And instead of just this one sale, think about their neighbors, their friends, their family. They may have properties that they manage because they're wealthy. They got a property up north. We love going up north because it's not 800 degrees up north. And it's like, it's great. And as we've grown and learned, like you just got to start and then be consistent with it. Because once you stop being consistent, all your hard work is basically gone because you didn't keep, feeding that flower, and that it's going to wither away and die unless you keep watering it.
That's it. And it's, you've really developed a long-term mindset. It sounds like you're not in an abundance mindset because my goodness, there's a lot of work out there.
There is.
Like down in the Phoenix area, I don't know how many thousands of contractors there are, but there's a few thousand.
Yes.
Right. Like, I think the number in Dallas is like 6,000 or 8,000. I would guess Minneapolis is 4,000 or 5,000. Like, I'm sure Phoenix is probably similar, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. Like, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
There's a lot
of chucking and trucks, a lot of Jose's and Jose B's that don't do the best work. And it's like, hey man, it's fine. But there's a very good opportunity for a good contractor to do a good job and stand behind their work. Absolutely. Even reputable ones I hear about all the time that they just don't show up after a warranty call. And then it's like, dude, like, how are you supposed to stay in business when this is your job you screwed up and we're out here fixing it
Yeah.
for money? And it's like,
Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
I don't get it either, man. It blows me away sometimes.
Just be a good person. That's most of it.
It's pretty simple, right? It's pretty
You'd like to
simple.
believe
Be a
so.
good person.
Yeah.
Yeah. How have you thought about the customer experience from the multifamily level, right? Like, what type of communication rhythm have you found keeps them from wondering in that type of a relationship versus the homeowner relationship?
I know you're enjoying the episode, but let's give a shout out to another one of our sponsors.
Stop going at it alone, because growing a roofing company today is not what it was like even 3 years ago. Not with the economy, not with private equity, not with AI taking over the world, and let's not forget insurance rewriting the rules. Join the community of roofers who don't really like roofers. We share our winning secrets to help each other dominate in today's fast-changing and unpredictable times. Click the link in the description to apply to join.
What type of communication rhythm have you found keeps them from wondering in that type of a relationship versus the homeowner relationship?
Yeah, we have
What's the difference?
It really doesn't change much. The wording changes because it's not like we don't need to we don't need to, cut your grass because like you have a property management company that manages the landscape, right? So we don't put that in there. And a lot of things are a little bit different, but for the most part, we treat them as a normal residential client because they have the same steps and processes of, hey, we're going to do your job. It's going to be noisy. It's going to be loud, or it's going to be messy. We're going to be on this day, this time. It's going to expect this many days to do it. And we kind of treat it just like residential, just a little bit different. But for the most part, it's the exact same because the more the manager knows or the HOA board knows, the better you're going to be off because then they can tell their tenants who, by the way, really pay for this thing. We get the check from one person, but really it's the whole community that pays for it. So it's like if we piss everybody off over here and we make this person happy, they probably won't like us very long. So it's like if we do our job here, they can relate everything to these people who are hundreds and thousands of people. That's good. If we can tell them to tell them, we're going to be much, much better off. And I think that's what misses a lot. It's like, okay, we got a job. Let's go do it. It's like, you can tell the manager or the HOA so they can tell everybody else, don't leave stuff out. It's going to be noisy. Maybe don't work from home that day. Work at a coffee shop that day because it's going to be loud enough where you're going to be pissed off that you can't hear your boss talking because we're banging so loud. Like it happens. So the more we can prep the board and the manager to prep them, I think is something that, again, for us has helped a lot getting out of a lot of these problems of like, oh no, we got to go right now and go do this because they didn't know about it. It's like, hey, we told them and we'll still be nice about it. But if the manager doesn't do their job, that's not our fault. But if we don't do our job telling them about it, that's absolutely on us. And that's something that we need to take internally very hard because, again, in a very long way of answering it, it's very similar, just a little bit different with the wording and certain things you do need to include. Like, hey, there's going to be a trailer in your property for a long time because it is a big job. It's going to be moving around, sure, but like there's going to be this big black thing with our logo on it for a very long time. So don't park in front of it, please. Like all these dumb things and that you would think are common sense, but it's like, just in case, we're just going to include it in this email. And when we call the manager, we're going to tell them that just to be safe because we don't want to have any problems.
That's right. So there's like a kind of an analogy or saying that like where like if someone becomes a millionaire and they go broke, that they can bounce back really fast because of all the lessons that they learned along the way of the personal development that happened in becoming that or in achieving that financial status, right? Or that financial achievement. If everything went away today, Zach, and you had to start over from scratch, what would be the game plan? What would be the core focus?
Sure. I would say there's two things. The first one would be focus on getting good people on your team because that's who really is your company, are the people that work with you. So don't worry about the experience or their skills, but like the person in general, are they a good person? Start with that so that you can build a good foundation of, sales will always come. but you can't always have good people if they weren't there from the beginning. If they're good people, they should be even better people down the road, because money corrupts people. But if they were already good people, money doesn't corrupt them. They just do more philanthropic things with it. So I'd say the first thing is good people, and the second thing is think of the customer experience and making that as best as possible, because almost everything is based off of this one or this one. I feel like I could be wrong, but like if it's the person that works with you, and then the service you provide, everything else kind of branches off of that. So if you make this as best as possible, I think that's what really separates you from anybody else. Is this is my house and it was being replaced a roof on today, what would I want it to be like? And think of it from their perspective and making as best of an experience as possible. That way you get referrals, reviews, repeat business, like everything kind of feeds each other. If you have good people doing the job and then you provide a good service and a good experience, I think that would be, if I were to start over, what I'd focus on is like good people, good service, and a good experience. And then everything else kind of takes care of itself.
That's right. Everything else will fall into place. Zach, it's been awesome. Thanks for your time today, man. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast.
Thank you for tuning into the Roofing Success Podcast. For more valuable content, visit roofingsuccesspodcast.com. While there, check out our sponsors for exclusive offers, shop for merchandise, and sign up for our newsletter for industry updates and tips. Also, join the Roofing Success Facebook group to connect with other professionals and stay updated on the latest trends. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Your support helps us continue to bring you top industry insights. The website link is in the description. Thanks for listening.